There we go.
So welcome everybody to Unity of Blairsville, and my name is Reverend Jessie, and it is my joy and my pleasure to be with you all here this Sunday. And today we are blessed to have Reverend James Buchanan from the Unity of Dallas with us. And I was reading about you, and I was reading about the tradition that you have brought from Hawaii to your family in Dallas of Ohana. Meaning family, and Reverend James has certainly welcomed Unity of Blairsville into Unity of Dallas's family, and we are very blessed. So thank you so much. And then we have Dina with us, bringing the music for this service, and each of you here, where the consciousness would not be the same without each and every one of us here. So let's just begin this time of settling in, and Dina will bring us in with a wonderful original song of hers, One Door Opens.
One door opens and another closes. One door closes. One door closes and another opens. One door opens. I have faith. I will trust. I will receive all the guidance that I need. One moment at a time. One door opens and another closes. One door closes. One door closes and another opens. One door opens. Letting go. I release the fantasy round every corner of my life and how it all will be. One door opens and another closes. One door closes. One door closes and another opens. One door opens. One door closes. One door opens. One door closes. One door opens.
So we just take that song into a time of prayer, embracing in our lives all those openings, all those closings, embracing it all. For it's all held in that living substance, that living presence of God. And so we trust and surrender into the divine order of this time together today, and all those openings and closings in our lives, and just say thank you for this time that we share together with our teachings in unity that bring our lives alive, whether something is ending or something beginning. So for it all, we just say thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And Dina, my prayer is that we'll be able to hear you better for the rest of the service. We couldn't hear much at all of the piano, and you were cutting in and out a little bit, so that's unusual. So I don't I don't know if there's anything different, but let's all just send some wonderful energy up there to Maine and where Dina's sitting, and that it'll come through a little bit fuller experience of what she
Okay.
brings.
All right.
So the daily word for today is forgive. And it's a good one. I extend forgiveness to myself. So let's breathe that in, you all. I extend forgiveness to myself. Throughout my life, I have forgiven those who have hurt and disappointed me. In turn, I have been grateful when others extended understanding and forgiveness to me. Even though I have learned to be forgiving with others, I may still find it difficult to forgive myself for mistakes I've made, disappointments I have caused, and commitments I have broken. Today, I open my heart with love and compassion. I forgive myself. I remind myself that everyone makes mistakes and deserves understanding and forgiveness, even me. I remember how the prodigal son's father received him with joy when he came home. This joy is mine when I let go of self condemnation and finally come home to myself. And from Luke chapter 15, verse 20. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. And again, the affirmation, I extend forgiveness to myself. Good one to remember, isn't it, you all? So, Dina, let's try that music again, this time with the congregational, and let's keep that prayer energy going.
All right. Let's hope for unimpeded bandwidth. Usually there's no problem. My settings are the same as always. So okay, so this is Be the Attitude. I'm going to teach this to you briefly. This is the refrain, which is the first section of the song. Sounds like this: Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude of the living truth. And I'll do it again. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude of the living truth. Right? There's the refrain. So the verse part is the part that comes right after that. Starts have this mind, and it sounds like this. Have this mind in you. God will see through. And the tune just repeats. Try. I can't read my words. See God's great God. Right what trust to. Goes into the refrain. Have the attitude, etc., etc. And then you get another verse. No, you don't have another verse. It goes right to the bridge, which I'm also going to teach you. All right, so many of these songs just have two sections, a verse and a refrain. This one happens to have three. Here's the bridge. We are part of one great spirit. Open up your heart and your life can hear. You've got to believe so you can be attitude of truth. Be the attitude, be, etc., etc. All right, so the bridge mostly just hangs out on these two notes. Etc., etc. All right, so that's like the fastest I've ever taught a whole song there in three sections, but it's simple enough. I think you can. I think you'll be able to follow it. So here we are at the very top. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. All right, so somebody is not muted, which definitely affects the sound quality. So make sure that you're muted. Here we go. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude of the living truth. Have this mind. God will see through. See God's great and good. Right what truth stood. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude of the living truth. We are part of one great spirit. Open I can hear you got so you can be true. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude of the living truth. Have the attitude of the living truth. The audio any better?
No, so I'm
No.
having to embrace an attitude of positivity when I want to hear you more.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault. Doggone it. And we can hear you singing better than we can't hear the piano. So,
Well, maybe I'll turn up the piano for today and see if it helps whatever's going on.
all right. All right. So I'm lighting our Christ candle. And always that outer symbol of that living Christ that lives in us and breathes in us and walks as us and is with us every moment in our lives. And I just love the symbol of the light that then we bring to our world from that Christ presence. So I love the outer symbol of the candle. And our affirmation for the last time for this month is God in me now strengthens me to be all that I am and surges through me as energy, encouragement, and patience. God in me now strengthens me to be all that I am and surges through me as energy, encouragement, and patience. And now Dina will play to lead into Reverend James's talk, the song Pressing On.
All right. Let me just ask you before I start, is the piano any better now? No. That's so weird.
Yeah.
So you can only just hear it a little bit.
And
there may be something going on in Maine because William has tried to join 3 times. So it might be something to do with your service provider. I don't know.
It could be. All right. All right. We'll just keep pressing on. Oh, I know what it is. Oh my God. I didn't turn on original sound on Zoom.
Oh, yay. Good.
All right. Life is about to get a lot better.
Makes us very happy.
I'm pressing on and on and on and on, pressing on. I'm gonna keep trusting dust of me. Shake me up in my mind. Say, prove to me there is a God. Show me a sign. What kind of sign you need when it all comes from within? When what's lost has been found, what's to come has already been. I'm pressing on and on and on and on, pressing on. I'm gonna keep trusting, pressing on to the higher calling of my soul. Oh yeah. Shake the dust off of your feet. Don't look back. Nothing now can hold you down. There's nothing that you lack. Life is not an easy thing. Sometimes you feel the rain, but even in the darkest night, God is stronger than any pain, and I'm pressing on and on and on and on, pressing on. I'm gonna keep trusting, pressing on to the higher calling of my soul. Oh yeah, I'm pressing on and on and on and on, pressing on. I'm gonna keep trusting, pressing on to the higher calling of my soul. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, Dina, I think we should just hit record. You said you didn't have any albums. Maybe we just hit record today and get it going. I mean, I was just I was just thinking about my new workout is using the Apple Fitness app, cycling, and 20, 30 minutes in, and just breathing hard, sweating, and the trainer is up there telling everybody to smile. Just keep smiling. And I don't feel like smiling. But your music, I'm just sitting here smiling like crazy. So I wonder if I can just blast that out in the gym.
Thank you. That's high praise. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful, beautiful voice. And I found it also interesting that your affirmation for the month that Reverend Jesse just read, that, I'm paraphrasing, but it's strength in me for energy, encouragement, and patience. And that's what we had to do to be able to hear you sing today and to hear your piano. So funny how that comes true when we affirm it. I'm going to add an E to it though. So it'd be energy, encouragement, emergence, and patience, because today is about emerging, right? It's about spring. Today's 3/21/21. In case you didn't know, it is the first day of spring, but I think you all know that because you've been out planting all day and inspiring me to get out there and do that today. I think I'm going to celebrate after being with you all today by going out and planting something and maybe getting out on the kayak on the lake today. And I think that would be very peaceful, which is what my affirmation is these days and what I seek and what I been asking for really when I tune in and I meditate. That's really important to me. And I think I'm a peaceful person anyway, but it's like I want to seek deeper peace. I want even a deeper peace as we're coming out of this, emerging out of this kind of dark winter into spring now. what can that comeback to spring look like? What can our comeback look like? Which I also want to mention that I can't wait to come back to the mountains. And I have a sabbatical coming up in September, August. Oh no, it's August, September, October. So that's going to be on my list to finally make it to Blairsville and come back to the mountains. So that for sure is going to happen this year. So I'm very much looking forward to that sabbatical, and coming back. The mountains are very special to me, and it represents the affirmation that you guys had today for sure. But I've been speaking about this idea of comeback with our congregation, and it's just really been present and on my mind because we're all making a comeback of sorts. We're all emerging, and we've changed, I think, as a humanity with the pandemic and everything that's been going on, and the quarantines and the challenges it's presented. We're all different in some way. And what kind of comeback do you feel like you might be making in your life? And I just the idea of comeback. Who doesn't like the story of a comeback? Because it's usually about overcoming the odds. When they said it could not be done, the people that find a way to do it, those stories that inspire us, whether it be sports figures or spiritual leaders out there. And last week, in celebration of International Women's Month, which it is, I showed everybody in my congregation a book called Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. And, I think all of us have a little rebel in us if we're unity, because sometimes when people say turn right, we turn left. And this general understanding and wisdom that we have inside of us, that nothing can stop us from emerging and having this renewal that Lenten season is about. And, we have Palm Sunday coming up, and this is a perfect time for us to make a comeback in our lives, whether it be healing. It might be a mental healing or a physical healing that we're going through right now, but that's a comeback of sorts. Maybe it's a financial situation that you are emerging from and having this comeback, or maybe it's just been a period where you've learned a lot in your life, or learned more about yourself, learn more about your family members. If you were quarantined with them for a year, you probably did learn more than you expected, more than you asked for. But if we're going to have this comeback and this emerging in our life, we have to think about, well, what are we asking for? What are we seeking? If I was to ask you all, if you are wanting this strong comeback and you want to have this great emergence in 2021, have you given any thought to what it is that you seek? Because I meet so many people that are on a spiritual path, but when I say, what do you really desire? What do you seek? They're not sure. So take a moment and think about what it is that you really are seeking in your life. Your moment is up. Jesus said in Matthew, ask, and it shall be giveth. So there's a lot of power in asking. And often what we're asking for, we're asking for a tangible thing. Like I've heard people lately saying, oh, I can't wait to, for spring and to be able to take my mask off and go out and attend events and be with people again. And I would say to them, what is it that you're really asking for? You know, why is it that you want to go be at an event or a concert to see Dina and Don? Well, you're wanting great music, but you're also wanting that sense of what? Connection. Some people say, I seek more money in my bank account. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It's just energy, it's just money, but what is it that you're really seeking? Safety, probably. Maybe it's safety to not have to worry about finances. So I think there's a lot of power in your ask today. So I'm going to ask you again, what is it that you're really seeking? Even if you're willing, just take a moment and close your eyes for a moment. And it's okay to ask Divine Spirit, what is it that I am asking for? What is in my highest and best? What does Divine Spirit have in store for me today? On 3/21/21, we know 21 is a good number in blackjack, but today can be the number, the date where everything changes and evolves in your life to where you fully emerge into what it is that your spirit is truly calling for. Yeah, you can open your eyes if you haven't already, but the other thing I find when I ask people what they really want in their life, I just want things to come back to normal. Do you think that's going to happen? No. I think there is no, I think I would say the new normal. And can we be okay with that? You know, part of me is thinking about how I will show up in the world in my comeback this spring, my personal comeback. And of course, you know, metaphysically, we're talking about coming back to the truth. We're coming back to the truth of who we are. And I think about, well, how am I showing up in the world? How am I communicating that truth? You know, am I showing up in integrity and honesty? And, you know, all of us need to think about that. How are we showing up and communicating with integrity and with our purpose? So if we're just asking for more, I mean, my 3-year-old says that more when she wants something else, you know, more avocado is the first thing I thought of. She loves avocado, but you know, if we're asking for just more money, then are we showing up from a place of lack? And if God is our source and our supply, then we always have what we need for whatever it is that we're seeking. I was in a continuing education class yesterday with ministers, and David Friedman, if you've heard of David, I bet the musicians in the group have. He's been to Unity of Dallas a few times, and he's a friend of mine, and he's Tony Award winner and everything, but he was talking about prosperity. And he said, how would you feel if I just ripped this money, and he had a real $100 bill and just ripped it in half, and you could hear the collective gasp. And I'm going to try this one day, maybe in a board meeting, and see what happens. But there's a lesson there in, if I say I'm asking for something, but somebody rips up a $100 bill in me, but they're doing it with intention, like he was. It was a teaching point. It wasn't just doing it and wasting it for the sake of wasting. He had a teaching point about prosperity. But my stomach clenched for just a second. But then I went back to what it is I'm asking for right these days. And my thing that I'm asking for, I told you at the beginning, more peace. So I got to be self-aware in the moment and say, oh, am I showing up in peace right now? Even if somebody's ripping up $100 bill, well, wait a minute. The teaching is God is my source and my supply. So I can start breathing again. And I can get back to peace. Let me just check in with my body. Let me check in with myself, because what am I communicating to myself in that moment? Is it peace? Am I communicating to everybody else on the Zoom call what it is that I'm seeking in that moment? You know, sometimes in communication, speaking in communication, I'm very much thinking a lot about communication these days too, because that's what I'm going to be teaching in our SCE class that's coming up, in our SCE week that's coming up April 18th. And, you know, I wanted to take that on. I wanted to teach communication and crucial conversations, because I see that so many people are not in peace with each other in the world. I talked about a dark winter earlier. You know, it's this dark winter of pandemic and arguing over, well, the pandemic is not even real, to, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would even go out in public with this pandemic, you know. So we have the extremes going on, and maybe you see that. I know we have a little bit of that in our congregation, you know, we have these extremes. So I'm like, well, let's learn how to show up and communicate from this Christ self. And being able to have crucial conversations with each other, to be able to express how we truly feel from our authentic place. And if, for instance, if I'm not feeling peace in my life, if I'm not feeling it right here, and I check in with my body, and I feel it in my shoulder blades, and maybe I'm holding my breath, and I'm still having a conversation with you, that I'm not showing up as my highest self in that moment. So I want to be able to communicate more effectively, have the crucial conversations, be able to have those crucial conversations about race, or about any of these hot button issues that we've seen in the world, and know what is mine to do around that. And it's so important for boards of churches also to be able to communicate effectively, because, you know, we have a very effective board at Unity of Dallas, but sometimes I realize that they're not truly speaking what they really want to say, or they don't know how to say what they want to say. And so people start creating stories in their head that's not even true, imagining things that are not true, and then getting upset about it, but you haven't even talked to that person about it. You know what I mean? So we see this in families, we can see it in churches. So we're going to have a board retreat about it. And I've asked them to also be in my SCE class at 7 o'clock that week, to really play with this and have some fun with it. And we just become more self-aware, being conscious of it and thinking about it, having some fun with it. You know, we just don't express ourselves as clearly as we could. I was thinking just now of the story about the wife who communicated with her husband. She said, you work too much. You work too much. And so what he did is he listened to her, and he went out and booked a golf tournament. And that wasn't at all what she was trying to communicate. She was like really trying to communicate, I would like to spend more time with you. I'd like you to be at home more. So she had to say, oh, I need to have a crucial conversation about that and approve it. And, you know, so what was she asking for? So that's two things I've already talked about today. What is your ask, and the communication of it. And for me, I've been also, as we're emerging and in my life, I'm saying, how can I experience a deeper peace, be the eye in the storm at all times? You know, what are the 12 powers that, when I feel out of peace that I'm maybe out of balance with a little bit. And for me, what I realized is I want to increase in my life the power of wisdom. And that for me, I think, is what it takes to navigate what we're seeing in the world and to experience more peace. We've had these hallway moments. And for those of you that know the book, Hell in the Hallway, Light at the Door, that's been a book that I pulled back out and just gotten so much out of it. So if you too are thinking, I would like to have more peace and feel more wisdom about how to move forward in the hallways of life. And of course, if you're familiar with the book, you know that the hallway is a transition. And so you're in a hallway and it's a transition. Now, the transition can be very dark, period. Especially if you've had loss in your life. If you've lost somebody that is dear to you, or you're grieving loss of a friendship or a relationship or of income or whatever it is, that's a type of transition. And when you get in that hallway, maybe a door slams shut. It just slams shut on you. But we know spiritually that one door doesn't shut without another door opening up. And I believe we heard a song about that today. And I'm going to have to find out, Dina, if that is an original right there, or I don't know that I've heard it before, but that is a great song. So we need to get that recorded, because we're in this doorway, we're in this hallway of change right now with the goal of emerging, going across the threshold and emerging into this higher elevation, this emergence, this higher consciousness, so that we can live our purpose and live a fuller life, and to be able to share that with others. But it takes the wisdom to recognize where that doorway is. Where is that other door that is opening? So when we talk about wisdom, Charles Fillmore, with it is one of the 12 powers. It's one of our 12 divine faculties. And he said that it's yellow because wisdom is like when you're operating from wisdom, it's like a yellow light shining. It's like a light down that hallway, so you can see more clearly how to navigate the hallway. The chakra is the sternum or the pit of the stomach, which makes a lot of sense for me, because like I said, if I'm not feeling peaceful, I'm not operating from a wisdom play, a place of wisdom, then I'm probably tensing up. That's where I hold it in my body. I notice it, holding my breath. And maybe some of you can identify with that. Very hard to find the light in the hallway at the other door if holding my breath, operating from a place of fear, not wisdom. The disciple that Charles Fillmore talked about was James, the apostle James, the disciple James, son of Zebedee. And this idea of wisdom with Charles Fillmore, co-founder, talked about, it's the ability to evaluate. It's the ability to make judgments, positive judgments. And it's also even the ability to use intuition. So I want that in the hallway, because the hell in the hallway, and you could use another word besides hell. I mean, some of you are aware that Unity of Dallas recently had a lot of water in the hallway because we had the big winter storm. And let me tell you, Texans are not used to snow. And we had a lot of snow. We were without power here in this house where I'm at for almost 3 days. And Unity of Dallas had a lot of damage. And I appreciate your prayers. Some of you sent prayers, and Don and Nancy Ganeka sent a love offering and a card. Thank you very much. We appreciate that love. But the interesting thing about it too was such a teaching point that has happened, because people will show up. My office didn't get wet. It was one of the few things on that level that did not get wet. Thank you. But people would come in my office, and a couple of the people said, "It's not as bad as I thought." I'm looking down the hall, and you showed the picture to all of us because there was water ankle deep in that particular hallway. And they said, "It's not as bad as I thought." And I'm like, "Well, have you been down to past this hallway to the classrooms, and have you been down to children's church area to see how bad it was?" And they're like, "Oh no, I didn't go down there." So they didn't really have the knowledge. They hadn't fully evaluated our situation before making a judgment about it. And that's what we do all the time. We say, "Oh, well, you know, this. And it's just a thought we're having about something that's not even true, because we haven't fully activated our power of wisdom. And the reverse is true too, where we say, "Oh my gosh, I bet it looks like Hurricane Sandy down there, and I don't even want to see it." Somebody told me that. They're like, "I don't even want to see it." So in their mind, it was, these stories we create, in their mind, it was much worse than it really was. So wisdom, and focusing on wisdom, and being able to shine that light down the hallway to see things as they really, really are, and not just a mirror of our consciousness in that moment. So I think that's why it's such the perfect color for wisdom, is shining that light down there. Of course, Jesus said, "You are the light. You are the light." So how can we be the light even when it's dark in the hallway, even when we're going through change that can be painful, when we don't feel like you're the light of the world? And I think the key really is accessing more wisdom. Ephesians 4:1-3 talked about this: leading a life worthy of the calling that we have been called. Not just leading a life worthy that we've been called when we feel like it, or leading a life that we've been called when things are hunky-dory, and we think that once I get out of this hallway, everything will be okay, and then I can go live the life that I'm supposed to live. I think our calling is to be able to do it right here in the moment, in the now, no matter what the situation is. And sometimes that's our challenge, even as Unity students. So what can we do? What can we do? I always say the first step is awareness, self-awareness, to become aware of the situation. Sometimes at Unity, we think, or New Thought, we think, well, there's water in the hallway, but that's not really water. It's not true. We tell others, you'll be fine. Get over it. I know you're having some hell in the hallway, but it's all in your head. Light and love it away. Well, it's a paradox, because the wisdom that comes to me that helps make me peaceful, remember, that's my goal, is that, well, I can name the water. There is water here. I'm not making it up. It is a challenge. But I realize when I get peaceful that it's not the truth of me. That's not the real truth of me. So my ask is to always come back, to make the comeback to the truth, to the Christ light. The divine in me can help me find my way. But I still have to start from that place of awareness in the moment. What are the dynamics of the situation that I'm in? I may need to gain more knowledge about the situation I'm in. I may need to evaluate it, like Charles Fillmore said, and then get to this intuitive side. I love it. I love wisdom. You have the divine masculine and feminine there. using the left brain, that left part of the brain, the linear, maybe to evaluate, but then going into intuition to gain spiritual discernment. And that can happen if we don't find ourselves in the same hallway over and over and over again. You know what I mean? That pattern that keeps repeating in our life. We think, oh, I'm finally out of this hallway. Oh, wait a minute. I'm really in the same hallway again. I'm kind of found myself in the same situation, same relationship, or same job. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, the paint may look different on the walls. The pictures may be a little bit different, but if you scrub that away, it's really the same hallway. So what's happened? I haven't quite evolved yet as much as necessary, and that is my calling. But the more I practice it, the more I practice this path, the more I get dedicated, the more wisdom I get, able to make better decisions, able to make better split-second decisions. I love the story of the young baseball player. He's like in Pee Wee baseball, and he goes to a professional game, and he gets to go out on the field after the game, and he asks the umpire, says, how do you call the balls and strikes so fast? I mean, it's 100 miles an hour. Those balls are coming in. You got to make a split-second decision. How do you do that? And the first umpire says, well, they're all balls and strikes, and I just call them as they are. Okay. Goes to the second umpire, says, how do you call the pitches so fast? And the second umpire just says, well, I just call them as I see them. Okay. So the third umpire he goes up to is actually an umpire part-time. He's really a full-time licensed Unity teacher and Unity minister. So he's really, and in all of his spare time, he goes and calls baseball games. And he says, so the young fella says, hey, the ball's coming in so fast. How do you do it? And the umpire says, well, they're all balls, and they're either balls or strikes, but they aren't anything until I call them. And that's the way everything is in life. It's like nothing until we call it out. And that takes self-awareness in the moment to say, yeah, I'm in transition. I'm on my way to my comeback. But I am aware of my thoughts, my feelings, and my action every step of the way. And see, that opens us up to the universe. That opens us up to the dynamics that are at play. I'm able to name it. I'm able to say, this is what it is. But let me ascertain what is really going on here with this person, place, or thing. So in that way, every day is judgment day. Every moment is judgment day. Adam and Eve in Genesis, it talks about where God said, these items, you get to name it. Everything here, you get to name it. And that's what we do when we're in the hallways. We're in transition. We're naming what we think it is. Isn't it interesting how we label things? When the music wasn't quite working earlier the way we thought it should, then we start naming it as, oh, well, this is good, but it'd be so much better if we could hear the piano better. We're thinking this, and especially as a perfectionist or as a musician, want it to be perfect, and we're naming it like, oh, the piano's not working the way. What is it? What is it? And then everybody's coming up with their own conclusions of what it might be. It's just that Zoom. I'm so sick of Zoom. Why can't we just be together in our building? Another person's thinking, well, she probably didn't push, on or something. And then eventually you came and told us what the answer was, what happened with the piano. But of course, Reverend James is sitting here, smiling, and I'm into it. I named it as good. And then when it really started working, I was like, oh, I see why Reverend Jesse really wanted it to work, to have the fullness and the most, the fullness of this experience. Then I got it. I got where the thinking was. I understood the judgment. But the whole time I was going like this. Isn't it great that we can all come to church right here and just sit here and go like this and be bopping our head up and down? And yeah, Reverend Jesse, I saw you swaying like this. I think you did the snake one time. I'm not sure. That was my judgment. But we stack up this evidence on what's good or bad. And so often that's what's going to bring us peace. That is not true wisdom. Like with a friend, it's like, oh, well, this person has done this, and this, and they brought me a dogwood tree, so they are good. Until they're not. They do something we don't like, and then all of a sudden, bad. So we decide these things in our mind. And sometimes it's confirmation bias that we hear from society or media or family or friends or whatever, and it's not even what the truth is. We accumulate so much information. It's legalese. We would call it a brief. I got my brief. I'm putting my brief together so I can go present my case. And that's part of showing up and being able to communicate effectively too, because I see people building up their case in a conversation. This person's talking to this person. Well, this person's not really paying attention to what this person's saying, not really hearing them. Oh, you want me to go book a golf tournament? No, that's not what I said. Well, I thought that's what I heard you say. But he wasn't really listening, maybe. And we do that, when we're communicating. So showing up in the moment, being able to listen, and being able to hold off on our judgment before we've accumulated all this information that may not even be true. We talk about, I think wisdom and imagination, the power of wisdom and imagination work a lot. Getting those in harmony together, because sometimes my imagination might be just running over. It's just an overabundance of imagination. Some people probably said that about me. But imagination is a beautiful thing, but it's like all these other powers have to be in balance, because sometimes I can use so much imagination that I'm not living in the moment. My imagination is, well, what is at the end of that hallway? Where is that other door? And I'm visualizing what that door might look like, and that's good, except it's a paradox, because I could be doing it so much that I'm not truly living in the moment, using spiritual discernment, and therefore not growing wiser about who I am in this moment and the truth in this moment. So I hope that makes sense, and you can kind of see where you are in the balance of wisdom, and even how another power influences this wisdom, such as imagination. Who are we? Jesus asked the people, who am I? And he asked his disciples, who do the people say I am? And they were like, well, some people think you are what the prophets said, that you are, what Elijah said, and this, and prophet and the savior and this and that. Well, Jesus said, but who do you say I am? And Peter spoke up and he said, you're the Christ. You are the Son of God. So Jesus knew and then communicated, oh, Peter, you are wise. This is not coming from your carnal self, your flesh and blood, is what he said. Something bigger happening here. That's why Charles Fillmore called Peter the rock, right? The foundation of the church, or the rock of Christianity, because he was able to come from the strong foundation of from this place of wisdom. And that's what I want. And wisdom will help me get there to more peace, more peace. My dad was one thing I always admired about him, and we didn't always get along perfectly, you know, but he was always seemed to be coming from this place of wisdom. When I thought what we needed was, I don't know, a new boat or something. Like, why? We have a boat. Like, yeah, but it's small, and you know, the other boats would be faster and pull more skiers and all of this. And he's like, I'm pretty peaceful with who I, and you know, as we get older, we realize that it's coming from a place of wisdom, that it wasn't this, oh, yeah, I'm going to be happier once I emerge through the threshold to this other hallway because I have more stuff. And that never works, does it? It's like the book, Who Moved My Cheese? You know, wait, I knew I'd be happy once I was in this relationship or had this thing, had that thing. And we're seeking this tangible thing, when really we're not seeking that elusive happiness. Thinking, well, you know, if I can get more likes on my Facebook page or whatever, you know, then I'll be super happy. That's never where we're at. So that's why I've been putting a lot of emphasis lately. Like I said earlier, what is the real ask? What are we asking? So Jesus said, you know, you'll receive, but it is be careful what you ask for. You know, and pay attention to how it is showing up in your life. So the other way that we can do this, that I want to talk about for a couple minutes, is just engaging our hearts. So you're in transition, you know what you want, you've asked for it, you've discerned from a place of wisdom what you want. Then in that presence, in the now, in this moment, are you able to let go of the stories that are running in the head about the hallway? Oh, well, here I am in a dark hallway again. Oh, here you know, the brain starts turning to try to solve the problem, to try to get more wisdom. But really, that is the time to engage our heart and to be able to just let go of the story. I think about what was Jesus doing when he was going to next Sunday's Palm Sunday. And he was heading to Jerusalem, which metaphysically means peace. And he was inviting people on the way to gain more wisdom, because people say, I can't believe you're going there right now. And he was coming from this place of wisdom, staying peace, and inviting people to have a thought exchange, to look at what we are doing differently, to look at why we are going there, why we are making our comeback into Jerusalem in a different way. And then once, of course, in Jerusalem, continually asking people to let go of the story, to discern what the truth is, discern what the life purpose is. And Jesus kept saying, this is who I am. This is who I have called to be. I've been called to be the Christ. You all have been called to be the Christ, to be that light in the hallway for others, to be that light in the hallway for yourself. And yes, this is a tough time. This is a challenge. Yes, people have put a lot of expectations on us, and we've put a lot of expectation on ourselves, but our self-awareness says, I have been here before. I recognize this. Life is consciousness, and we are going to be okay. We're going to emerge, not going to be a victim here. That's what we want to do in the hallway a lot of times is, you know, be a victim, when really what unity says is to be accountable, because we've put ourselves in that hallway. That's the tough one. That's the master's class of becoming wise. You know, how did I put myself here again? Can I pay attention to what's going on in my mind, body, and heart to be able to discern now what is mine to do? Part of gaining wisdom, this is important, is education. Unity is an educational movement. So it is what we're putting into our consciousness. I mentioned SEE class. I'm going to switch over here to this page because when I align our classes, and all of you guys are welcome to join us, I hope you will. I've talked about it with you before. Like I said, it's coming up the week of April 18th. That Sunday, we'll have a big kickoff. And then it's a spiritual boot camp from there. Because when we apply ourselves Monday through Friday, then there's a shift. You come out and there, it is that wisdom. Part of it is because of what you've studied and put into your consciousness, but then that other part of wisdom is that intuition. So we balance these classes out to be able to do both, to exercise that muscle of spiritual discernment. So we have like metaphysics, a couple metaphysics class. We have a healing and wholeness class. We have a class by Paul Hesselback called Using the Truth You Know. It's a new class he's beginning to teach. We have an overview of Christian scriptures. Some of you may know Kelly Isola, who's an amazing teacher, and she's teaching her new class called Harnessing the Power of Paradox. And speaking of paradox, there's KK. Who is always, she just got up from her nap, so we'll see what wisdom she's going to share with us today. Say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody. They're saying hi back. You can't hear them because they're muted. But and then we're going to teach Eye of the Storm for SEE week. And also, like I said, the communication skills classes. But it's all with this idea for me of more wisdom and more balance in the 12th power. So education, ask yourself, how can you, wherever you are, like you may have taken one of these classes before, but that was before the transition, the hallway that you're in right now, right? Before the work. KK is saying KK work. Yeah, she keeps saying KK work. She knows she needs to get up on the desk and get to work right now. But Mommy, you may have to come grab her because she's gonna take over my spotlight, and then I'm gonna be a victim. I'm gonna be in the hallway again. What will people say? Not quite. Don't want to be in that hallway again. One last thing today, when we are in the hallway and we're going through transitions, a question I want you to be able to ask yourself when you're in that moment. This big transition's coming. It could be a surgery. It could be anything. Being able to gain wisdom by asking, but deep in the question with divine spirit, what is this for? Not why is this happening to me again? Why does this keep happening to me again and again and again? No, that's victim consciousness. I'm going to name it. Yes, there's water here, but I'm going to observe it. I'm going to observe the situation. But then I'm going to set the goal. What do I want? Well, personally, I said it. I want peace. I want to emerge. So I'm asking for it. I'm asking for what I want. But as I'm going through this challenge, as I name it, and in my moment of self-awareness, I'm going to say, what is this for? Now, why did this show up? What is mine to learn from this? There's a beautiful quote I'll close with before we go into meditation. And it's by Myrtle Fillmore. And Myrtle Fillmore says, if the light of understanding does not manifest as swiftly as you expect, do not be discouraged. The truths you plant are as seeds that are growing in the soil of your consciousness, and they are bound to bring forth their harvest, so that your whole consciousness will be illumined, spiritualized, transformed. So I'm going to read it again. It's a great quote for your hallway moment, for your renewal and your emergence. She speaks of illumination, that light in the hallway. she speaks of wisdom here, because wisdom says it may not happen in our time, it happens at God's time. So let me read it to you one more time, really listening to the words. If the light of understanding does not manifest as swiftly as you expect, do not be discouraged. In fact, ask what it's for, right? The truths you plant are as seeds that are growing in the soil of your consciousness, and they are bound to bring forth their harvest, so that your whole consciousness will be illumined, spiritualized, and transformed. Very first thing we talked about today was planting seeds. Before we got started earlier, planting seeds. Let's plant the seeds of peace, of more wisdom, and let's do that right now if you're willing. And Dana, I'm going to ask if you would play with that beautiful piano a little bit up underneath. Thank you. Beautiful. And if you're willing, just like I say, close your eyes and take a deep breath. This is a quick time together today. It's beautiful first day of spring. Let's just plant a seed now together, as Myrtle Fillmore talked about. What will it take to emerge? Let's ask Divine Spirit, what is it for? What is this for today? The daily word talked about forgiveness today. Is that what is keeping you in the hallway of transition? Is it time to emerge? Is it time to forgive someone? Will that shine the light? Will that show you the door? In keeping with the daily word, is there somebody you can forgive? Maybe that's what it was for. Maybe that is the ask today, the deeper ask. Ask for forgiveness of someone else. Sometimes the hardest thing to do in life is to ask for forgiveness from ourselves. So if that is true, our ask can be, help me to see that my self-forgiveness only resides as hurtful thoughts of the past and no longer serves me. When I dwell in spirit, when I dwell in the infinite now, the present moment, aware of self, aware of spirit, I remember that I am the I am that created me. I remember that I am a divine idea and divine mind. And that the divine sees me, that there is nothing to forgive. So why should I not freely forgive myself? Once we forgive, once we have asked for the true thing or idea that we seek, we commit to being balanced in our life, even during transition. We laugh, we ask to be illumined with light. We sense the peace. We begin to sense the peace that really does pass all understanding. We come out of it. Now hit the refresh button, hit the reset, hit the renew button in our hearts. knowing that we are fully loved, fully loving. And in this state of grace of God, with these seeds we've planted today, we go forth knowing that all is well with my soul. All is well with my soul. And that's the way it really is. Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen and amen. Thank you for letting me share today with you guys. It's a fun topic, and I can tell I'm pretty passionate about it, and I'm preaching to myself today. So great to be with you all again. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to our congregations getting to know each other better as sister churches, especially during SE week. So don't hesitate to email me with any questions you may have about that week or anything that I can do for Unity of Blairsville. Please connect with me heart to heart. Thank you.
Thanks, Reverend James, so much. And maybe Dina will close out this segment of the service with that song, Higher Place.
So we're not getting any dancing. Dina, you're muted.
Thank you. So this is Higher Place. This is a Daniel Namad song. And I think I'm just going to sing it, and you can jump in on the refrain when you feel comfortable doing that. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher
Oh, thanks, Dina. How can we not be in a higher place right now after this service with James's message and your music, and now the for all of us to remember to hold all of this in our hallway experiences and to see the gifts that they're bringing to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So if this service has nourished you as much as it's nourished me, I invite you to give a love offering, a gift, a tithe to Unity of Blairsville. We would pass a basket if we were in the service, but in the sanctuary, but that's not the case right now. So it's an opportunity to still go to our hearts and know our truth about as we give, we receive, as we receive, we give, and to keep that full circle of flow open in our lives. So it's easy to do so with either through our newsletter or our website.